Over the years, I have made videos tracking LeBron James Jr., Bronny, from 13 years old to now a NBA player.
The Los Angeles Lakers select Bronny James.
He was ranked 10th in his class at 13 years old, a player who played beyond his years, 19th best in his senior year of high school, a floor general with a great shot and elite defense. I've been excited to see how he would develop, but I have never seen a more confusing prospect than this. From going undrafted in ESPN's mock draft to maybe the 17th pick to 55th a month before the draft, Lakers, Sixers, Suns, it was all over the place. Get it together! And now he got drafted to the Lakers. Congratulations to Bronny. But the stigma is always going to be the kid who got into the NBA because of his dad. When in reality, just 1 year later, he could have made it off his own talent. He doesn't deserve this negativity. Memes are going crazy.
Daddy, I'm open.
What's Bronny gonna call his dad? Daddy? Oh man?
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
But the script was written. And the situation got really messy with LeBron and Rich Paul pulling strings. A player with so much attention that ESPN released his draft combine highlights? Damn. And for a while, he was living up to it. One of the most famous teenagers ever, down-to-earth streaming, even though he was facing this.
LeBron still spank you?
Nah.
I wish I could get spanked by LeBron.
I had to give this
Yo!
We've seen Michael Jordan's son Marcus get to the college stage, a bit off name too, and then fizzle out. And even he averaged more points. Bronny shouldn't be here, and yet his potential has always been sky high, enough to validate contention. We'll get to his upside, but Bronny wasn't ready for the draft. He should have never declared, yet eventually he would have developed into an NBA player. So, how good is Bronny actually? What is up, dudes, dads, ballers, players? It's your boy MJ. Everyone's gonna talk about Bronny, and I was gonna let it slide, but somehow everyone kept missing the point. And so you get the wildcard video. Also, I saw Bronny in Soho yesterday. Was about to go up to you, but you were vibing and then dipped. Happy for you, bro, but still need to do this analysis. At first, Bronny was compared to his dad, LeBron. But even at 15, it was apparent that while they may have similar traits and tendencies of high IQ basketball, getting players involved, LeBron was a freak athlete that Bronny just didn't develop into, nor did Bronny play in systems where he was the main option. LeBron was selling out crowds because of how good he was, and Bronny was riding the bench more. The only thing that was better was his jump shot, but that isn't saying the most. However, that is an unfair comparison because LeBron James is quite literally one of the best high schoolers ever. Bronny didn't show much during his high school years because he didn't really play much, buried under other NBA prospects like Brandon Boston Jr. and Amari Bailey, who did make the NBA, but he was always well regarded. College was his chance to finally show a bit of growth in his game, cause he physically stopped growing and ended at 6'3". That was a lie. 6'1.5". Everyone wanted to see his athleticism, his playmaking, just him doing more than 15 minutes a night in Sierra Canyon. And then, tragedy struck. Bronny suffered a cardiac arrest during practice in July 24, 2023, and was admitted to the ICU. Thankfully, after a day, he was doing much better, but for a month, we weren't even sure if he would be able to return to basketball. See, Bronny was diagnosed with a congenital heart defect, but in December, fortunately, he was cleared for a full return to basketball. But the timing couldn't have been any worse. We were robbed of an opportunity to see what Bronny was capable of because a majority of the season was spent in Bronny just working his way back after a hiatus without being able to train with the team before the season. This also hurt him because he didn't get more time to develop his own game. His subpar averages of 4.8 points on 36% from the field, 2.8 rebounds, 2.1 assists. Alright, is anyone going into the draft with these averages? What? But we couldn't definitively attribute this to his game, or his health, or just him not getting enough reps. That's why before the draft, we had articles and takes that were all over the place. From Bronny could be the safest pick to will he even get drafted? In strong part because 2 years ago, LeBron said he'd go wherever Bronny would, but also because Bronny just hasn't had the opportunity to show us. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have it, but we're all speculating. Speculating so much so that he's now in the NBA. But his timeline should have never been this. Now LeBron, through Rich Paul, has went back on what he put out in the world, saying that he's off the idea of playing with Bronny. Why? I can't definitively say that Bronny is or isn't an NBA prospect. This draft class has also been considered by many to be weak.
Come on, man.
I hope they're wrong, but simply put, Bronny just doesn't fit right now. But there's a narrative that LeBron, that Clutch Sports Media, want to fulfill. LeBron and Bronny being the first father-son duo in NBA history to play at the same time is kind of mind-boggling. And for that to happen, Bronny needed to be in the draft this year, at least since LeBron doesn't know exactly when his last season would be, and that this goal has seemingly been the driving force. Bronny forgoed his college eligibility, and that's what has me a bit angry, because what should have happened was Bronny staying an additional year at USC, working his way up through the draft rankings through his play. It's not like he had no shot. In fact, I think some of the stuff we've seen from Bronny actually looks incredible. When you're younger, hype helps get eyes to get scouts to actually come to the games. It's almost become a prerequisite in the media age. No doubt being LeBron's son helped, but hype doesn't lead to higher rankings. It just leads to the ability to get ranked. Bronny impressed in his younger years. Even in the McDonald's All-American game, one of the biggest crucial high school games and practice sessions, especially for NBA scouts, Bronny showed out. 15 points, game high 4 assists, and what the NBA scouts said was promising. Bronny won't get drafted because he's LeBron's kid, he'll get drafted because he's an NBA player. He works hard, goes about his business, and is tough. It made him a 4-star recruit going into college. Remember Nasir Little made a name for himself during the McDonald's All-American game by stopping Zion and immediately improved his draft stock?
This is what real basketball is.
It's something NBA players even remark about. So Bronny performed under pressure. Let's actually look at the footage. In high school, Bronny stood out in his ability to play make, defend, and had bunnies. Damn, he windmilling? Dunking is looking easy at his height. He has a 40.5-inch vertical, 6'7" half wingspan, 210 pounds. His body is NBA ready. With shoes, he would be 6'2.5", 6'3". His on-ball defense was suffocating. Essentially, he played winning basketball, made the right plays, and despite the not crazy 14.2 points, 5.5 rebounds, 2.4 assists, 1.8 steals, no advanced stats in high school, he was 20th in his class. Seemed like a late first-round pick by several scouts. They liked everything he was bringing to the game. In fact, in high school, he was actually ahead of Reed Shepherd, close to Rob Dillingham, both of which would be drafted in the lottery this year. And in some key matchups, Bronny outperformed some of the top guys in this year's draft, like at the Nike Hoop Summit when he played for a Team USA Select Team versus the World, going at Risache, the eventual #1 overall pick. A game filled with eventual first-round picks. Ron Holland, Jared McCain, Isaiah Collier, and Bronny looked like he belonged. Playing great perimeter defense, finishing tough and ones. That doesn't make him the better prospect compared to those guys, but it shows his capabilities. But then there's the glazing, like grabbing the huge defensive rebound in the final seconds, or the entire article using Bronny James in the headline over the actual best player on the floor, Ron Holland. Chill with that. And that's where it becomes even harder to dissect through some of the BS. That isn't anyone's fault but the media. Even at the age of 10, there were people scouting Bronny, and LeBron said that should be a violation. And he's right. Yet Bronny's college play dropped him off the boards. In 25 games played, he had the worst averages of his entire class of anyone who was actually ranked ahead of him. If you watch the USC games, you can see that Bronny just wasn't well incorporated in the offense, probably due to the late start, and also because USC's top recruit that year was another guard, Isaiah Collier. So Bronny was never going to be the focal point. And as USC coach Andy Enfield would say after games, we just went with our veterans down the stretch, but he has continued to improve as a player. But also, Bronny was playing more off ball as a combo guard. His handles were good, but not great. His shot looked pretty, but fluky. Soft touch around the rim, but not consistent. His defense, yeah, that was there. And even when he had a start for USC, he was unable to really create too much offense. Yes, he made the right plays, passes off mismatches.
Beautiful pass. And the basket.
But it wasn't him creating problems for a defense. You get the winning plays, like boxing out a big man, a pass that got the defender not knowing where the ball was.
That was a really nice pass. It almost fooled.
Taking charges. You can tell he wants it. And understand, averaging above 10 points a game in this year's draft as a freshman got you consideration. All this to say, Bronny can develop into a true NBA player. At every stage, the upside has been there. His progression has been in line with all the NBA prospects of this year's draft, besides the crucial college year. And that showed in the draft combine scrimmages where scouts said,
should be a point guard based on his size, but he can't run an offense. He's handicapped as an undersized shooting guard because he can't shoot. 0-4 on threes on one day, 1 for 3 the other day. Needs screens to create space, and his only scoring came on paint touch floaters and can only go left. His strength is supposed to be defensively, but he's a switch matchup. Every bigger player who switched on him scored.
Necessarily a future all-star? Probably not.
In the NBA, he'll be able to develop behind the scenes, but will he get enough reps in? Will he be able to improve in-game? I believe it actually hurts him at the stage he's in. Maybe I'm in the minority, but I think Bronny would have made it to the NBA eventually if he had just gotten a chance to improve. But now it's always going to be LeBron guy's son drafted. He's living in his dad's shadow, and he does not deserve that. He seems like a great person and has handled the pressure so well. Let him make his own name because he's capable of it. I want Bronny to succeed just like I want every one of these players to succeed, bro. I just want good hoops. So yes, Bronny is not a NBA player level right now, but he's so close, and he can be. But shit, he's so confusing because we just haven't seen enough of him. The only notification shout goes to an OG Big Wiggy. Appreciate you. Wildcard vid in progress for next week. Hint, look at Curry Man, not generation. Video on Le GM right here. It's your boy MJ. We out and we vibe.